Welcome to this episode of the story. Subscribe as soon as possible. Chapter 6. Iron and Memory. Caesar's Star Chart Secret Order. In the morning mist of the Gallic wilderness, the eagle flags of the Roman legion pierced the dawn. Caesar stood on the watchtower, observing as the 10th Legion escorted a group of druids to the makeshift memory altar. With his right hand, he gently stroked the golden gear-shaped badge on his chest, the token of the church's Stargard Guardians. The 12 lines engraved on its surface corresponded to Cassandra's 12 memory cages. General, the memory reading rate of these barbarians is only 37%. Lieutenant Agrippa handed him a crystal slate on which faint green memory waveforms were pulsating. Their druid priests seemed to be able to block memory retrieval through the oak totem. Caesar frowned and took the slate. Suddenly, he felt a wave of dizziness. Memories that didn't belong to him flashed before his eyes. The silver-blue star chart of the Acropolis of Athens, the amber-colored pupils of the person hanging upside down in the temple, and a figure wearing an owl mask adjusting the cloning pod in a laboratory. He quickly pressed his temple, and the badge emitted a scorching blue light. Those images disappeared instantly, replaced by the divine memory implanted by the church. Lightning striking the Capitoline Hill in Rome, and the oracle of Jupiter thundering in his ears. Caesar, you will become the legislator of human memories. Use the battering RM to smash those oaks. Caesar threw the slate back, his voice with a deliberately suppressed tremor. Tell the soldiers that for every sacred tree they destroy, they can exchange for a glorious memory of their ancestors from the church's memory treasury. As he turned around, a half-exposed bronze scepter could be seen under his cloak. The head of the scepter was not carved with the traditional eagle's head, but with the pattern of the Atlantean memory's scythe. When night fell, the wails of the druids came from the altar. Inside the tent, Caesar watched as the priest used a bone knife to cut open the captive's skull and take out a glowing blue flocculent substance, the memory of the Gauls about the forest and their ancestors. A scribe recorded beside him, "Memory sample No. 417, containing iron smelting technology, tribal migration routes. It is recommended to seal it in Rome's memory cellar to prevent the rebels from using it." Rebels? Caesar sneered and reached out to touch the crystal bottle containing the memory. The flocculent substance in the bottle suddenly trembled violently, and the face of a young girl emerged with the same amber-colored eyes as Cassandra. He quickly withdrew his hand and heard a familiar voice behind him. "Lord Caesar, are you troubled by nightmares again?" High Priest Octavian lifted the tent curtain. Under his black robe, his wrists were wrapped with memory thread-woven wrist guards, and at the end of each thread was tied a miniature gear. "The Atlantean blood in you is awakening," he waved his hand slightly, and the memory flocculent substance in the crystal bottle turned into powder. "This is proof that the church has chosen you, but there is a price to pay." Caesar clenched the scepter. "What I want is unrestricted power, not to be a puppet manipulated by you." "Manipulation?" Octavian smiled and took out a memory crystal. "The Atlantean ruins you accidentally discovered in Alexandria, those stone tablets engraved with star chart formulas, wasn't it the church that guided you to find them? And the memory resonance device you accidentally picked up during the Gallic War ... He pressed the crystal between Caesar's eyebrows. "Look at the truth, my child." Memories came flooding back. 14-year-old Caesar was playing by the Tiber River and picked up a pendant engraved with the Greek word Delta Omega G Omicron Nu. Just as he was about to touch it, a man in a black robe knocked it into the river. As an adult, he was fighting in Asia Minor. One night, he dreamed that a woman wearing a feathered crown inserted a memory scythe into his heart. When he woke up, he found a secret letter from the church in his tent. The most cruel scene occurred 3 days ago. In the secret room, when he tried to destroy the evidence of the church's manipulation, he saw himself in the mirror raising a dagger and carving the church's gear totem on his arm, and his consciousness couldn't stop his body's actions. "You are the memory conqueror chosen by the church." Octavian retrieved the crystal. "The clone blood of the Queen of Atlantis slumbers in you, and only the church's technology can awaken it. Think about it, when you become the Emperor of Rome, the memories of the entire empire will be reshaped by you. Those unpleasant memories about wars, rebellions, and even the existence of the church can all be rewritten as the will of the gods." Suddenly, there was a commotion outside the tent. A centurion rushed into the tent. "General!" The roots of the druid's oaks grew wildly after coming into contact with blood, and our memory furnaces have been pierced by plants. Caesar rushed out of the tent. The scene in front of him made his pupils shrink suddenly. The stumps of the felled oaks were absorbing the soldier's blood, and the same Greek blood, written words as on Cassandra's hand, appeared on the roots. Even more astonishingly, the druid memories that should have been harvested were being injected into the nearby oaks through the roots. Blue memory light began to circulate in the tree rings of each tree, the energy of the Atlantean fountain of memory. This is the Atlantean memory symbiosis technology. Octavian exclaimed, "These barbarians have been using trees to store rebellious memories, just like the fountain of memory under the Acropolis of Athens." Caesar clenched the scepter, and the memory scythe pattern emitted a red light. He saw a druid girl being held down on the altar by the soldiers. Around her neck hung half of a pendant, exactly the one he had lost in his childhood, the Delta Omega G Omicron Nu. When the soldier's dagger fell, the girl suddenly showed a strange smile and chanted an Atlantean spell. All the oaks simultaneously burst into a strong light, and their roots turned into blue tentacles that swept away the memory crystal bottles on the altar. And the pattern on Caesar's scepter fit perfectly into the notch of the girl's pendant. "Kill her!" Caesar roared, but before his words fell, the girl had been dragged into the ground by the memory tentacles. He bent down to pick up the pendant fragment left by the girl and suddenly heard thousands of voices roaring in his mind. The fragments of Cassandra's consciousness imprisoned in the star chart cages by the church, transmitted through the network of the fountain of memory. "Caesar, you think you're harvesting memories, but in fact, it's just another rebellion sown by the church." That night, Caesar studied the pendant fragment alone in his tent. By the candlelight, tiny star chart coordinates emerged on the edge of the fragment, pointing to a certain bay on the island of Britain. What he didn't know was that deep in Rome's memory cathedral, the high priest was reporting to the church's high-ups. The 80th clone of the Prometheus project has been activated. Caesar's Atlantean blood resonance has reached 62%. The next stage of memory colonization can be initiated. In the oak forest of Gaul, the executed druid girl opened her eyes. The same amber-colored light as Cassandra's flowed in her pupils. She gently stroked the pendant that had been reassembled around her neck and said to the rebels around her, "The Romans think they're harvesting memories, but they don't know that every drop of blood will become the nourishment to awaken the fountain of memory." The stronger Caesar's divine memory is, the deeper the cracks in the star chart will be. In the distance, the bonfires of the Roman legion reddened the sky. Caesar looked at the pendant fragment in his hand and suddenly showed a relieved smile, so the church's control was not without loopholes, and he would be the first to take advantage of this loophole. When the first light of dawn appeared in the east, he wrote a secret order on the parchment. The whole army breaks camp. The target is Britain. There are more ancient memories there, and the key to end the church. This episode ends here. The next episode will be even more exciting. Come and subscribe.